Imagine standing in a corridor where time has stopped. The floors are cracked beneath your feet. The air smells of rust and dust, thick enough to taste. Paint curls away from the walls like peeling skin, exposing layers of forgotten years. This place once held hundreds of lives, hundreds of voices, but today it holds only silence. Or so it seems. Because hidden in a sealed cabinet, inside a room marked records, we find what remains of them. Patient files stacked unevenly, handwritten notes fading with age, forgotten truths pressed between brittle pages. Tonight, we open one. Patient 50. No full name appears on the folder, only a number, stamped at the top in ink that has begun to bleed through the paper. Assigned on admission in the early 1930s, during a time when overcrowded asylums were common and individuality was often the first thing stripped away. Patient 50 was admitted for what doctors described as emotional instability and persistent melancholy. In modern terms, this could suggest depression, trauma, or unresolved grief. But back then, those words were enough to justify confinement, sometimes for life. The early notes describe a frightened individual, restless sleep, crying spells that worsen at night, a repeated claim that the walls speak after dark, rather than questioning whether the environment itself was causing distress. The institution's response was swift and clinical. Isolation. Isolation was not rest. It was not reflection. It was punishment disguised as treatment. Patient 50 spent days, sometimes weeks alone in a padded room. No books, no windows, no human contact. Lights left on through the night. One note reads simply, "Patient increasingly quiet. Resistance reduced." This was logged as progress. But silence is not recovery. As the years pass, the records grow thinner, the handwriting more rushed. Medical language turns colder, more detached. Procedures are referenced without explanation, as if suffering no longer required context or compassion. Electrotherapy sessions appear scribbled in the margins. Sedatives administered as needed, though nearly every day is marked the same. Food intake is only noted when refusal becomes a problem. When compliance slips, there is no mention of therapy. No attempt to understand why patient 50 was in pain. Only how to manage it, how to contain it, how to make it stop being inconvenient. Then come the gaps. Months with no notes at all. Entire seasons of this person's life reduced to blank pages. It's here that the walls seem loudest, not with screams, but with absence, because absence tells its own story. The final entry is brief, almost careless. Condition stabilized. Patient transferred. No destination listed. No follow-up. No discharge paperwork. No death certificate. Patient 50 simply disappears from history. Today, former staff interviews and surviving reports paint a grim picture of life inside institutions like this one. Chronic understaffing, overcrowding, patients restrained not for safety, but for convenience. Emotional expression treated as defiance. Fear mistaken for illness. Those who survived often carried scars long after the doors closed behind them, scars no file ever recorded. And those who didn't, they remain here, in the paperwork, in the bricks, in the heavy, unexplainable pressure people feel when they walk these halls. The whispers aren't ghosts, they're memories. They're the echo of voices that were dismissed, medicated, locked away, and erased. People like patient 50 weren't dangerous. They were vulnerable. And the true horror isn't that these asylums existed. It's that for so long, no one asked who was paying the price. If these walls could speak, they wouldn't scream. They'd ask to be remembered. This is Unbreakable Voices. If you believe these stories deserve to be heard, like, subscribe, and help us keep the whispering walls from falling silent again.